Welcome back, everyone, to the Realty Room, your go-to podcast for realtors. I'm your host, Miles Pointer, joined as always by Marcus Butler.
What's up?
Today we're going to cover where rates are at after the Fed dropped them in their latest meeting, and then we're going to get into how to set your listing apart from all the others.
Sure.
First of all, Marcus, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Did you hear about the hurricane in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting. Did you watch the news and kind of see what was going on?
I just read a little recap. Sounds kind of crazy, but I also saw that it looks like it's dying down now a little bit as it heads north.
Yeah,
which is good. But
so I'm supposed to go to Florida. I leave for Florida on the 2nd. Actually, I'm going to go visit my dad down there. And so he was sending me videos last night, and there's like their dock was underwater. The water was over their seawall, which when normally you can go stand on the seawall, look down, and there's like 4 feet or something like that before the level of the water. And yeah, interesting stuff. Kind of glad we don't live in an area with
so now you can just go
crazy
swimming
stuff
in the basement.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. How about you, man? What's going on with you?
Yeah, doing good. I leave on the same day you leave for Greece.
That's right.
So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, this week's just been kind of a regular working week. Nothing too exciting to share, but
yeah, me too. Right on. Well, cool. We'll get into rates now. Sounds like conventional 30-year. We're at about 5.99. I think those are up a little bit from last week. I think we were at 5.875, so an eighth up. FHA and VA now at about 5 3/4. So, but yeah, the week before the Fed met and they were bouncing between, hey, should we drop it 25 basis points or 50 basis points? And they ended up going with the 50, which should have positive effects on mortgage rates.
Yeah, and we haven't seen major drops in the mortgage side yet, but I think that'll come. Especially banks are still like looking for a little bit of extra margin, which they haven't had in previous months or really this entire year. So it gives them an opportunity to slowly make that transition down to lower rates. So
yep. And didn't we hear that we should expect one more rate cut before the end of the year, right? That's good. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, and we'll see how what do you think it'll do, Marcus, to the market?
Well, it's kind of interesting because we're going into a traditionally slower time of year with the holidays and obviously just being winter. And in our market, there's a lot of snow. A lot of people don't want to move in the winter. But I think it's going to be a unique situation because there's also been a 2 or 3 year backlog of buyers and sellers. Buyers because interest rates have been higher, and then sellers because if they sell, they're probably going to buy something too, and they're going to be exposed to those same interest rates. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The seasonality is going to bring the market down a little bit, I feel, but that backlog of buyers who can now afford a little bit more might have kind of upward pressure on closed sales, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we'll have a busy spring because we're heading into winter. We have the elections coming up, which always just slows down things a little bit. But as we start to creep closer to 5% interest rate, I think things will really pick up, and we might not really hit that until spring. So
that's a good point.
I think we'll be busy next year.
Do you have some buyers who have kind of stressed that they want to wait until after the election? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've actually had more sellers. I've had 2 sellers say, I want to wait until after the election. And what I always say to that is it's all just consumer behavior, which it is. Like, if you look at all the last 11 elections, how it's actually affected the market depending on who comes in, it doesn't. Like, it doesn't actually affect what happens to prices and what happens to rates. The effects happen in the long term, but for some reason people feel like they want to hold off until they see who becomes president, and then in the spring buy or sell after that.
When it comes, and we did an episode on this a little bit where we pulled out some data, and when it comes to prices and interest rates, there really wasn't that much change in election years or the months leading up to election years. A little bit. But I mean, I hear other agents talk about it, and they make it seem like it's like a really big deal. Like, oh, rates are going to come way down and house prices are going to come down substantially or up substantially. Substantially. You know what I'm trying to say.
I know.
Anyways, but we pulled out the data and that wasn't really true. Yeah. So anyways.
All right. Well, should we get into our big section here talking about listings and how to make them stand out?
Yeah. Yep. You want to start off with your thoughts there?
Sure. Yeah. Friend? So I have my first thought is, so I kind of went on the marketing side of things and how you are, presenting your property to others. And so the first big thing is quality. And what I mean by quality is not only do you want your showings to impress, but you want your media that you put out there to impress as well. So making sure that the house is clean, that it's decluttered. It's always good to depersonalize, if there are family photos all over, narrow that down as much as possible. You really want the buyers to come in and feel like they can make it their own. So if they can imagine that, then that's so much better. And then staging. I think staging is a big thing, and I don't mean bringing in new furniture and paying a professional stager to come in and redo everything. Although that might be helpful, I think most often you can get away with, and it's extremely helpful, just to rearrange the furniture or making sure the little trinkets that are out on the tables make sense and are have more modern taste and things like that. So
yeah, a lot of the times you can spruce up a listing not paying for staging, just coming in there, as a real estate agent with knowledge of what buyers like and don't like and what makes the space feel better, and do it on a budget, I guess.
Yeah.
Depending on the price range.
And then the last thing that goes along with just, in-person showings and having high-quality showings, making sure that the walls and the floors are clean, besides everything else. I think it's something that can sometimes be overlooked, but it doesn't cost that much to have a professional carpet cleaner come in. I mean, for 700 square, I got a quote the other day from a local company, and it was like 700 square feet of carpet space, which I mean is like, it could be like whole one floor, a living room plus some bedrooms, and it came out to like just under $300.
Not bad.
Like, it's not that bad. And look at the walls too. I mean, I know repainting walls is a big undertaking to take, but if it really needs it, it will elevate the value of your home just a little bit. So,
yep, those are all good points.
Yeah, the only other thing underneath that is just photos. Making sure that your photos are top notch, high quality. It's worth it to pay for good photos.
Yeah, if you're not paying for photos and you're trying to have Uncle Joe take them, you're probably doing it wrong. That's like the bare minimum, I feel like, is get professional photos. So hopefully everyone out there is doing that. If not, maybe you should start.
There's too many people looking on Zillow, getting listings sent to them by their realtor, looking at all of the online sites. If you have, this is actually something I heard you say, was if you're not getting professional photos, you will stand out, but in a negative way.
Sure. Yeah, don't be that person. Yeah, that's actually one of the easiest ways to get a listing, is to go find listings that didn't have professional photos and then that are expired or for sale by owner or whatever, and just say, hey, that's something I cover for all my clients. Like, everybody does that, but oh, really? Yeah, let's get your house looking good. Come on. Yeah, those are all great points. And I think something that's kind of important to understand is there's two ways you want your house to stand out, right? The first is you want to shine online. You want people to see the listing online and go, wow, that looks like a house that would work well for us, or look how nice that house looks. And second, you want to stand out when they get there in person too, right? Because you can obviously notice more detail about cleanliness and maintenance items and all that once you're actually there. And Ninja Selling says that there's 5 points of value in any home, and that's price, size, condition, location, and amenities. And you can only change 2 of those, and that's price and condition, right? Can't change the size of your house, for the purpose of explanation here, you can't, or the location, or the amenities that surround you. Really what it comes down to is price and condition, and those 2 things are teeter-totter. You can't have you can't have price up here and your conditions down here. They need to be equal. So, and or else you're not going to get people coming to look at your listing if you're asking a price where all your competition has the condition up here, but you're asking the same price and your condition's down here. Which leads to another point. If you want to stand out amongst your competition, what's the first thing you need to know? What's your competition? What are those other listings? Because you need some sort of benchmark, right? So anyways, I think that Ninja Selling laid that out really well. Price and condition are the 2 things you can change, and they need to be, on the same playing field.
Yeah, and if you guys have never, what Marcus is talking about in Ninja Selling, if you guys have never read the Ninja book, we actually have it right here in the studio on our table.
Great book.
It is an amazing book, especially if you're starting out or you feel stagnant in your business. Read it. It's, probably one of the best real estate books I've ever read.
It could change your business for sure.
Oh yeah.
And they do all types of stuff. All types of stuff to help you.
But yeah, my next. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna grab my coffee. Need to be able to keep going.
There you go. Get some caffeine in you.
Yeah. My next point is just about exposure, which I mean, you and I just talked about this. What you said, shining on, online. That's super important because you need to get people into the door, because you can look amazing inside, but if you can't get people through the door, the house isn't going to sell. So exposure is critical. And I kind of came up with a list, and if you have any extras to add to this, Marcus, please by all means. But I kind of came up with a list of some free ways or relatively cheap ways to get your listings out there online, and then some more expensive ways. But starting off with free, we have all the online sites that includes the MLS, which that's just a basic. Every realtor has access to their MLS. You have Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. You have all of your brokerage sites, and depending on what brokerage you're at, usually they will just post it for you, whoever does the admin side of things. Like our admin people, the second we put a listing up, it goes to 100 plus different sites. So that's kind of a basic, just getting it out there for people to see. Next is Instagram and Facebook, kind of that whole meta world. It's free to set up a Facebook account and an Instagram account. If you don't have an account already, what are you doing? Just go set one up.
Yep.
It's easy. It's so easy.
It's kind of a pain, but it's easy.
It's a pain to keep up on it.
Yes.
That's the hard part, to be consistent. Yeah. But at the very least, even if you just have friends and family following you, just so they know that you are doing business and getting their eyes, at least if it's just their eyes on a house that you're listing, that's a few hundred more eyes than there would be any otherwise. So
it's free exposure.
Yeah, exactly. It's free exposure. The second one, which Marcus, maybe you want to talk about this just for a sec, because we've covered this in the past, but Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, Facebook. We did a whole episode on it, but I don't care really the price range of the house. Put it on Facebook Marketplace as a listing. Like, you can go sell your home. Even if you're just a homeowner, you could go list your own home on Facebook Marketplace. And I think my most recent listing, I'm up to 30 inquiries through Facebook Marketplace, and it's only been on the market like 15 days or something like that.
What's the price range of that house?
That's a super unique one, and I'll say up front that some homes are better candidates for Facebook Marketplace and lead generation. This one is actually a home in a mobile park, and it's a double wide for 167.
Just Santiago.
Yeah, off Santiago. And there certain properties that have a unique aspect are great candidates for it. Like this one, everyone wants to know what the lot rent is, because I said it's low lot rent. So it's like kind of, oh, it's a cheap house. There's a lot of people that can afford a house like that, and they need to know what lot rent is. So I'm going to get a lot of messages on that. Vacant land is great because I think there's a lot of people out there just poking around at land on Facebook, whereas a house, you're more likely to have a real estate agent and receiving, drip campaigns of listings and stuff like that.
One cool thing I'll add about vacant land is that Facebook Marketplace doesn't have a vacant land section. So when you go to post a house, they have an individual section where you can sell houses or post, houses for sale or rent. Vacant land just shows up on general marketplace.
Like an item, like you're selling a tool or
which can get
pillow.
More eyes on it.
Yeah. I mean, I had one vacant land listing have like 10,000 clicks. That's wow. I mean, and that's free. 10,000 people clicked on it. Not just scrolled past it. They clicked on it.
Yeah. The cool thing, sorry.
You're good.
Interrupted you. The cool thing about Facebook Marketplace is you do not need to have a good Facebook account. Like, you don't need to be posting regularly. You don't need to have tons of followers.
Great point.
All you need to do is put it on Facebook Marketplace, and it takes care of the rest.
Yep. And to elaborate on that too, now that we're going down this deep Facebook Marketplace thing when we said briefly, but this is also to add to your list, is then you can take that marketplace listing and share it to groups, Facebook groups. So like in our area, we have like Idaho real estate and rentals and shop and swaps and classifieds and all these different groups that have 30,000 people.
Hold on real quick. Just gonna.
Was that my phone?
Yeah, it just made a little sound. You're still recording. I wonder if you just got like a notification. Check mine.
Okay. Yeah.
Just got a notification. Okay, sorry.
You're good. So yeah, long story short, Facebook Marketplace is a phenomenal place. I mean, I almost feel bad telling my clients how much traction I get on Facebook Marketplace because they could do that without me, But I mean, hey, may as well.
You're doing everything else too, though.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Yeah. Facebook Marketplace, man, for something that's free, what a thing to do.
I think it dramatically increases your chances of double ending if your office lets you do that too.
Yeah,
just throwing that out there.
Another social media site I'll add is LinkedIn. I know that you'll get exposure to more professionals out there, which is a little bit different clientele than some of these other sites have. But just another free thing to put it out on. Another thing that I'll add is if you're doing, depending on what you're putting out on Instagram, if you're just doing a photo, this isn't a great option. But if you're posting reels on Instagram, put it on YouTube Shorts.
Oh yeah,
YouTube Shorts can do amazing compared to what reels can do, depending on the content. But I've seen things where a reel will get 500 views and then a YouTube short will get 2,000 or something. Just it works a little bit differently, but
yeah, algorithms a little bit different.
Okay, moving on past social media, the free parts of social media. There's just two more things I want to add. First of all, this is kind of another basic, but signs. Usually this is free or relatively cheap depending on your brokerage. But I mean, people driving by, neighbors, just a great way to show that this house is up for sale. So it's kind of a basic.
Yeah, and if another super basic thing, but I think it's overlooked. I mean, if you have a sign off of like a back road, maybe do a directional sign at a nearby cross street or something like that, because a lot of people will take that turn just to go check it out. So,
one more, the last thing that I have written down are open houses. You don't have to spend any money on open houses if you don't want to. All you need to do, put it on the MLS that you're having an open house, put it on Zillow. That's free, and you can just show up and hope that people show up. Put out some signs. Obviously, you can go above and beyond. I would recommend investing if you're going to do open houses. Invest in a way to attract people, having good signs, balloons. I don't know, whatever your heart desires.
Giveaways.
You can go as creative as you want.
Yeah.
With open houses, but
yeah, giveaways is something people do to entice people too.
yeah. Marcus, do you have any other like free or relatively cheap?
Yeah. So one thing that comes to mind is there's specialty websites for like unique properties. So for one, like I think there's horseproperties.net if you have some sort of like equestrian property. That's another avenue you could take. I know an agent in our office has kind of like a prepper style home listed right now, and there's like a website for real estate that's just for preppers. I think most of these cost money, maybe like $15 to $30 a month or something like that. But that's pretty cheap exposure on the property, honestly. So, yeah, I would say that's another option.
Especially for unique properties.
Yeah, exactly. And like that horseproperties.net one in particular, which is nationwide, so you guys can use that everywhere. I know a lot of people look on there. Like they really do. It's not just some random website that, someone happened to find and you can go create a listing that's not going to get any exposure. Like you'll actually get exposure from it. So yeah, that's probably the last one that comes to mind on it, like a budget. There's obviously other things you could do, but I think you nailed the big ones.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, just so my other point was you have all the free things or pretty cheap things that you can do. After that, you have all of your paid ways to get eyes on your property. So, again, anything to add, please?
Yeah.
The first one is video production. So this kind of having a video allows you to, whether it's short form or long form video, allows you to post to so many different sites. You have the big ones, YouTube, and you can even post videos on LinkedIn. But short form is good for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. People like video. It catches the eyes, especially if it's well done. And expensive video production, a good video production, I'll say, is expensive to have it done right, but depending on the house that you're selling, it might be worth it.
Yeah. You can expect to spend like what, 200 to 800 on a video, depending on how
on a basic one. Yeah.
Like I know there's some people in our area for, if you were willing to spend $500 to $700, like you would have like a really good video, like a really good video.
Yeah, and that allows, like, with that amount of money, obviously your budget might change depending on where you're at in the country, but in our area, around $700 will allow you to do an agent intro to the house and then have a high quality walkthrough kind of style video.
And I would say if you're gonna do video, make sure it's a good video. I've seen videos done that are not very enticing. They're kind of like corny elevator music style, and I don't think those grab the viewer's attention. And so I really don't think you're doing your client any favors at that point if you are just throwing money away on a subpar video. I would definitely recommend, and this is definitely the direction I'm going, if I'm going to spend the money on video, I'm going to make it trendy. And with different speeds and zoom ins and zoom outs and all that fun stuff, because that's what grabs people's attention and is actually going to make them watch the video.
You can go to Google and look up what the algorithm wants on Instagram, Facebook, or even long form videos like for YouTube, you can look to see what techniques people want to see. So I know for for Instagram, Meta just came out with their latest playbook for Instagram Reels, and includes a lot of what you just said: zoom in, zoom outs, captions, voiceovers, all those things. But you can find all that on the internet. It's well worth it just to look it up.
Yep. And then if you already have your social media posts or reels or whatever, just another paid option. Once you already have that piece of content out there, there's normally going to be a boost button where you can go say, hey, I'll spend, $25 this week to go boost this post. So that's another paid option.
That leads straight into my next point, which was online advertising. So you can take your posts or videos, and you can pay to have that reach more eyes. So Meta has a great platform. Google also has a great platform that includes both Google Ads, like in their search platform, and also YouTube.
Yep.
So
all good options. What else is on the paid thing? You got more in there?
I have a few more besides on the digital media side of things. I have kind of print media, so direct mail. I really like direct mail personally, just for the local side of things. So whenever I list a property, I send out flyers or letters to the nearest 100 or so neighbors, just to let them know, hey, I'm in your area. I'm listing this property. If you have any interest, let me know. Even, want to chat, hit me up.
Yeah.
So
a little golden nugget here. If anyone out there likes to do direct mail and they have not heard of Every Door Direct Marketing, have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
All right, here you go. Here's the golden nugget. A lot of agents in our office didn't know about it either. So if you do, especially if you're doing like almost like a farm, like a geographical area where all the homes are right next to each other, you can go directly to the USPS website and buy a mail route. And instead of, a stamp is 73 cents now, right? And you can get it down cheaper if you go through like a print mail company and you're doing bulk. But you could get 500 addresses. And I think my last Every Door direct mail, you buy a whole mail route and say it was 500 people. I think I paid 20 cents per stamp.
I actually have heard
by doing that.
Yeah.
So huge. That's 25% of the cost of a stamp. If you're mailing it to a whole area anyways, go buy a mail route. It's super easy.
Yeah, because
look it up.
We're at what, 70 cents?
73.
73 cents a stamp.
That was like expensive. As of last week, it was 73 cents.
Because if you're already paying for if you're just doing letters, maybe it's a little bit cheaper. But if you're printing out flyers like I do, because I don't want people to have to open up something, so I prefer flyers as long as you can get enough information on there. But you're already spending 70 cents or 80 cents on per flyer or per postcard. Sorry, postcards is what I meant to say. And then that racks up to, you're almost at $2, $1.50 to $2 per mailing. So that's great advice. I'm gonna use it. I'll use it on my next one.
Use it. I know I've told a couple of people, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. What's everyone doing?
Yeah, I actually remember when I first started in real estate, I came across that.
Yeah.
I wrote it down and I have forgotten about it until this very moment.
It's the golden nugget. If you're into print media and direct mail, it's a good one.
The other thing that I like to do is you don't have to send it just to the neighbors. You can send it to interested parties. So if you know that your listing is going to hit a very certain demographic in a certain area, we live in the day and age where that information can be found and their mailing addresses can be found. Go ahead and send them. You can send them letters. Same thing with brokers. If you want more exposure, like if you're having a broker open house, send mailers to brokers.
Yeah.
So
go drop off flyers I mean, we have like a community room where flyers and forms are found and stuff here at our office. We call it the war room. And agents will come drop stuff off. I mean, there was like a really nice house that was being auctioned off the other day. And they came in and brought a bunch of flyers, and like tons of our agents went to it.
Yeah.
It was also a $20 million house. So
Yeah.
that helped, but
Yeah.
you know, just to prove the point, I guess.
My last print media option that I have is newspapers and magazines, and you use these for a little bit different sets of people. But first of all, newspapers are great for hitting the local community, especially it's usually now a little bit older community, but getting your face and to property out there to the local community. I think newspapers are great for that, and usually it's not that expensive to run like a small. I mean, you can go big, but
And they have their demographics nailed down. You were mentioning this the other day, like these magazines or
magazines have their demographics nailed
even
down.
like a neighborhood magazine, like that just goes out to a specific little neighborhood. They know their demographic. Right? Like how old the individuals are, and potentially their income, you know, they're likely to be wanting to move. All, you know, they have their demographics nailed down.
Yeah, if you have like a specific property, I mean, it doesn't even have to be that specific, but like there are so many properties out there that have magazines that could go along with that. Like you were just saying, horse properties. There are magazines out there for ranching and for different horse and equestrian things. There's so many out there. Golf course properties. There's tons of golf magazines. Luxury properties. Man, there's
waterfront properties.
Waterfront luxury. I mean,
trailer park
you can
properties.
go beyond. Man, I don't know about trailer park properties, but I mean, there's so many magazines out there, so you kind of have to pick and choose. But especially if you have the budget for it, magazines make their living by being able to offer targeted demographics to their whoever's, you know, paying for ads. So something to think about.
Yep. You got any more on that list?
That's it. That was all that I had written down.
Yeah, those are all good points. I'm going to bring it back a little bit more to the physical house, so not quite marketing, but I think one of the biggest things you could do for your client is just stress the point that a home that is not clean is going to give buyers the illusion that it's not maintained well. So let's say you did everything right up to this point and you are getting showings, but their house is not clean. Well, one way around that is to price it below its market value, but I don't think that that's the right option for obvious reasons. When they get in the door, you want them to feel like the home was maintained well, and not being clean gives buyers the opposite opinion. I'm going to throw out one of the like quintessential things too, and it's like those brightly like neon colored kids rooms and stuff like that. Hey, will that house sell? Yeah, it'll sell. Do you want to maximize your client's proceeds, right? And get more people through the door? Take care of these little things like bad paint colors and non-neutral paint colors, cleanliness. If it's cluttered, and sometimes people think, oh, you know, I don't have a lot of trinkets laying around. The other thing to look at, sometimes people have too much furniture. They have too many end tables in a room. They have one too many chairs in the living room. And what it does is it just makes the space feel chaotic. Mm-hmm. And that's not what you want. There's kind of a way of optimizing every space in a house to make it flow really well and feel really good. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of selling that feeling. Thank you, Miles. You're selling that feeling to a buyer. How's this house feel, right? And if it feels chaotic, they're probably not going to want to buy it. So keep those small things, and they can go a long way. When you take photos, your photos are going to look a lot better. They're going to look a lot more inviting. There's going to be a better chance that people are going to want to come look at it just by preparing the home. And I'm going to say another big thing is landscaping and exterior elevations. I don't know if you can probably see people on social media, at least as a real estate agent, this stuff shows up kind of frequently for me, but people will take a picture of their front of their house, and they're like, what can we do to spruce this up? It just looks very blah or bland. And a lot of the times, a little bit of shrubs, small bushes, some bark, shutters. If there's no shutters, like, you can completely transform the exterior of your home very cheaply in a couple of days. I think landscaping is overlooked a lot.
I like that.
A lot. Yeah. Landscape, and it, get a small group of landscapers out there for a day and just spruce it up. Lay down some bark, pull some weeds, maybe put a couple shrubs in, and boom, like, the outside of your house now has curb appeal. And that first picture that everybody looks at when they look at a house, the main photo, boom, looks that much better.
Yeah.
So I think those are just a couple of pieces, and then I'll elaborate on your video. I think video gets people excited about it.
Can I add one more thing real quick? Just backing up.
Yeah, sure. I ranted.
No. That's great. Yeah. What you were saying about the, like, neon rooms and too much furniture, all that kind of stuff. There will be a buyer out there that will be able to look past that stuff. Most buyers won't be able to, though. Mm-hmm. So one good thing to remember is that a good way to get the best price out there is if you can have multiple offers, right? Because then you can start fighting, I mean,
it's not necessarily, hey, like, will this house sell? Of course it'll sell.
Yeah.
You want multiple people interested in it.
Right. So if you can make more people feel like they belong in that house, then you have a higher chance of having more offers, and at the end of the day, a better price for your clients.
Yep. 100%. And I mean, another little thing I'm going to mention to add to my rant here is that one area where I notice homes that make homes kind of unappealing a little bit, and this is more so once you get in the house because so much photo editing goes into listing photos these days. Dirty or scuffed trim and scuffed paint. It's just, a coat of paint is pretty affordable. You and your kids can do it. You probably have a family member or a neighbor or something that would be willing to make some extra money if you don't have a huge budget. I'm actually talking from the actual homeowner standpoint on accident, but the point is that those things are cheap, and once people get in the door, they will notice it. So maybe nip that in the butt before it happens, because you could just lose a buyer. That simple. Anyways, what do you think about when it comes to your listing? Now, we talked about how to market properties a little bit, how to prepare the home a little bit. What about the description? I mean, I know when it comes to marketing, you want to speak, when you're writing your listing description, you're telling people why this home is so great. You want to speak to the person that's going to be the type of person to buy it.
Yeah.
Right? What's your point on that?
Here's my personal opinion. First, I want to be honest. I want to bring up all of the amazing features of this property, but I also want to be honest. So, ChatGPT is a great tool for a basic listing description, but you have to go beyond that, I think. But first of all, I want to say, like, if you have a fixer-upper, you don't need to say that it's this beautiful house that, you don't need to say things
That's
like
not
that.
The likely buyer. That's not who's going to buy it.
So you have to target who you're buying. So you have to state all of the, like I just had one, you have to state all of the properties that are going to attract a person who either wants to flip the house or to fix up the house. So when was the roof replaced? Or like all the things that are good. It's like this house that I'm thinking of, the roof was replaced a year ago. The furnace was replaced 2 years ago. Like, these are all things that a possible flipper will come in, and they don't have to spend the thousands of dollars it's going to take to replace those things.
That's a great example.
So that's already done for them. Like, that's a great thing. Also, got to talk about location, the amenities around it. Be careful, though. There are some laws about, I don't know. We were brought up. Do you remember, like, a few months ago, it seems like there were issues brought up about talking about like walking to different areas for
That's because people with disabilities.
people with disabilities. So you have to be a little bit careful when it comes to descriptions, but
I'm kind of like just go with what you want and ask for forgiveness later, and maybe it'll get me in trouble one day. But yeah, they're saying, I think it's ridiculous, but yeah, you can't say it's a great view because some people are blind, and you can't say walking distance because some people are in wheelchairs.
I still think it's super important to talk about what's around it, the amenities, views.
Sure.
If it has a beautiful view, say it has a beautiful.
And on top of amenities, like the lifestyle, right? And people kind of like we're selling the feeling when they're inside the house. How does this house feel? Well, what's their life going to be living in this house? Oh, it's close to the public boat launch. So, during the summers, getting on the lake's going to be easy. It's close to trails. There's a park across the street, so then it's appealing to people with children, likely. Really nice restaurants in the area or activities in the area. All those things I feel like are pretty important. Mm-hmm. And what you said about, and I thought that was a great example when you're saying, don't oversell a property, because if you're calling it beautiful, you're trying to attract people who want something that's turnkey. That's not who's going to buy it. If it's a property that's a good option for a flip, you want to tell them, hey, what major things are already taken care of, and hey, put on the cosmetic makeup and you'll have some immediate equity, right? That's a better way of marketing to a home like that than trying to oversell it, getting people in the door and be like, well, this isn't what we thought it was, right?
Yeah. One thing I will say too is pictures are worth 1,000 words. So be wise about the photo you choose as your first photo. I can't stand it when people choose interior photos as their first photo. I don't know. What do you think about that? A good photo of the front of the house, or like a photo of the house.
Yeah.
I think it should be the first photo always.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Or if it's, obviously if it's lakefront or it's an incredible acreage or something, maybe you could do like an aerial or something from the back of the house. But yeah.
Be wise about the first photo.
I agree. Yeah. And you can always change it, the first photo too. Mm-hmm. You can change it. So, all right. Is that a wrap, my friend?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for watching our episode here at the Realty Room. I think this is episode 8.
9.
9. Look at us go. We appreciate it, and we come out with episodes every Tuesday. You can follow me at the Real Mark Butler.
It's actually just
Real Mark Butler, Mark with a C.
Yeah. And you can follow me at Miles Pointer. Catch you guys next week.